Hey guys, just let y'all know that later today I will be streaming as we will discuss all the news about the Clan Collections 5 and 6, as well as possibly co-streaming the EVO announcements and know what games are actually going to be at EVO and whether or not I might be able to go or not, and probably do a blog, but that's something for there. Anyway, join me later and I'll let y'all know when we start streaming. Anyway, thanks for y'all watching, and let's get to the news. What's going on, guys? This is X, and yeah, the Bushiroad Strategy Presentation just ended, and I spent some time to gather my thoughts, and well, here they are. For the most part, this video will primarily be based on Vanguard's details. I'll probably go over a bit on Rebirth and Weiss news, uh, a little bit, but mostly that will be talked about more so in the podcast this week. So we look forward to that. Anyway, let's kind of start getting into the actual topics, and I'll go over like the main bullet points. First off, Vanguard Zero. We got the news that the next arc next month will be Strikegate, which everyone knew. And I'm gonna be honest here, I'm happy that Strikegate's here, mostly because I am a fan of Chrono Fang, so this is my favorite deck of all time finally getting into the game. I'm kind of concerned because we're really moving pretty fast through all the sets per se, because we still have yet to get some specific archetypes. Now, granted, most of those archetypes finally become relevant in Strikegate, so that might be a longer season overall. But such as Charlotte, which finally has its main user Inishi finally playable, and like some Med Colony stuff. Tachikaze's finally get Rive. There's a lot of characters that finally get to be shown off in Strikegate that weren't able to be shown off in the first two seasons of G. So, it could be a much longer season than normally. But it still concerns me because it does feel like they are really rushing to end G as fast as possible. This could be just a slight fear of it might just be they're trying to rush to G as fast as they can so that they be able to just close the game and stop supporting it as soon as possible without having to like just stop midway through. Right? I've seen this happen before with something like I've talked about this before, was SAO Memory Defrag. That game was around for 5 years, and when it finally was able to tell its story, it just had to get cut off. Same with the Kingdom Hearts Dark World. Just sometimes like the game's story is done, there's not much you can do. And instead of just pushing it, you have to just stop right there. Considering that Vanguard Zero has been on a very, very big decline, and they have yet to actually address some of the big glaring issues that a lot of people have talked about, it does feel like they are kind of just trying to rush this down as fast as possible so that they can just close Vanguard Zero and just call it a day. Which, some people are going to be happy with. I'm personally sad because that's that's a lot of money that I kind of put into that first half that is pretty much going to be gone. But hey, that's what you get for playing gacha. And that was kind of it. That was pretty much all of Vanguard Zero's news. There was nothing really else left to say there. So now we also got anime news. First off, we have the announcement that Will+Dress's third season has a name change, which is called Will+Dress. Okay. And it will actually premiere in July. We have a month now, so it's July. That's March, April, May, July. That's another 3 months away. That's the next strategy presentation where we could get more information, which makes sense because we didn't really get much here. So the synopsis of the story is that 16 people from different regions of, I'm assuming, Japan are invited to a national tournament. What that tournament is for, we don't know. This is Vanguard. A lot of stuff is always left in the air. And we got a tease of 3 new characters being added: Raika Koshiba, Michiru Hazama, and Urara Hanayama. Which, just from their kind of base designs, look kind of generic. However, we don't have their actual like colors and fully line art yet, so that's just first impressions. But they do look very generic. But then again, Overdress has been trying to be more based in reality, I guess you could say, than the other seasons. So there's that. I would like to see their actual like full designs eventually. And why I haven't been a real fan of most of Vanguard's tournament arc seasons, right? I don't like Asia Circuit. I have mixed feelings of G Next. I do feel like this could, depending on what they do, this could be really interesting and could turn things around in that way. Also, I love having more characters in Overdress. I know people are going to be like, oh, there's more characters, meaning more decks are going to be built, meaning not all these decks are going to get supported. And yeah, I get that. But we're not at the card game part yet. I'm talking about from a pure characters perspective. I like having more characters because that means they can bounce off each other. That means there's more characters that people can be invested in, right? A lot of the reason why G was and is still looked at as very, very popular is because all the characters you had. You had like a good like 20-something characters, both old and new, that people could gel with. And then you increased the count each season, right? Like Gears Crisis, you had Almond Luna, Strike Gate, you brought in Nishi, G Next, you had Noah and Shin Nippon. You brought some older characters back to bring in, right? The characters of Vanguard matter just as much as their decks. So having more characters in Overdress, which I felt was lacking in actual characters, because really just like 10 people just like messing with each other for a long time, feels much better. And I'm actually interested in seeing what these characters do and how they're actually interacting with the cast. So that's also it for anime news. Nothing really there. I think the next product, I think the next one in June. Was it June or July? July. I think it was also July. I think the next product stream in July will have more information, and that'll be really cool. So that's it for anime news. Set 5 news. Basically, this is pretty much the last bit of it because they also said on the product stream that the information for Clan Collection 5 and 6 are going to be in the Tuesday stream, which I'm not going to do a direct video on. I'm probably going to stream it. Probably going to do a restream like later in the day because I'm tired. I want to go to bed. And just kind of talk about what they show on that stream as well. We're also going to get EVO and whatnot, so there's that. So, we're going to talk about that. But they gave us some information about Set 5 too. They also finally showed us the remaining Cray Cross Epic ride lines for Dragon Empire Dark States. They have been hiding them for a while, and then they finally revealed them. For Dark States, they have revealed Chaos, and this is a weird translation from the official Vanguard Twitter. It is the character that uses this ride line, Mikani. I don't know what that means. That sounds like that's a character that's going to be appearing in the anime. But that does not look like a character that you would have as an anime character unless it's like an antagonist or a character from Cray coming down, which that would be interesting in how that would happen, but I highly doubt it since the design is very similar to how the Dragwater girl was used. So I think that's just a weird kind of like a statement kind of saying yeah, this is their partner. Their partner in the K-Cross Epic. Kind of like an ally or like a underling. So that's it. We also got Dragon Empire, which has the unit known as Tamayura, and is again, like I said, being used by the twins, Ribimi and Rarami. We have no other information besides that. So we don't know what their deck styles are. We don't know what their actual mechanics are going to be outside of the glitter. We don't really know. But just from their artwork alone, I really like them. I really do like the actual artwork themselves. Chaos feels more similar to like the seriousness of Dr. Regulars, as opposed to like a Barrel Magnus or a Greedon, which, were more the crazy wow and the more not alien for Greedon, but more so like the more monstrous side of things for Dark States, or the more Pale Moon aesthetic, I guess you could say. So this is more akin to like a Charlotte Vampire in that regard. Obviously, the Bikani immediately just screams, just from the colors alone, this is a Brant Gate like alliance card, so that's going to be interesting later. Tamayura, on the other hand, obviously gives an appeal to like Murakumo aesthetics, more so closer to the stealth fiends, like Shiryuki and whatnot. And the twins are obviously Dark States related because their aesthetic just screams like Nightmare Dolls in regard. So overall, like they both look cool, and I really have high hopes for them. Another thing more for the aesthetics of set 5, they'll also have 4 different artworks for the booster packs, which will be MLB, Dote, PBO, and Aurora, being the 4 artworks on each pack. I'm a fan of them. I really like it when card packs have different artworks. I know back in the day Duel Masters did it. I know some Pokemon does it. And it's like, it shows that there's more like aesthetics to the actual set than what you see normally. So, I really do like enjoy that. What I don't enjoy is the 10th SPs of the encounter cards, which will have their original artwork as well as Kai, Aichi, and Ren on them. Listen, I'm gonna be honest here. I love the idea of having characters with their main units on them, right? I love that when Buddy Fight did it because it's really cool, and it was like new artwork, right? It was new artwork on the card and gave a more connection of it, right? The whole point of Buddy Fight was to be like you and the buddy, right? Vanguard is similar in that regard because, it's the Vanguard. It's a connector to you. This, on the other hand, feels very lazy with its implementation. The artwork is literally the same from 10 years ago, back when that set was originally released, and it looks bad. It literally looks like you just cropped out the artwork, slapped it on a card, and you're trying to say, hey, this is going to be an SP. That's not what I want to buy. I don't want to buy that. Go out your mind. Not to mention the background, while I understand it's supposed to reminisce the actual pack art of set 5, it looks very similar to like the old Buddy Rare template. Like, I'm talking about like old Buddy Rares. Like, just the original artwork just slathered in gold, which didn't look appealing at all. I'm not gonna front. It was a cool idea, but it's just messy execution. And this is what it kind of looks like too. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really looking forward to those SPs. It really does feel like the actual like 10th anniversary stuff does feel kind of like lazy at this point. I'm not saying it's lazy overall. I'm saying in terms of its execution, it just appears really lazy. Overall, I say like this product stream for Vanguard specifically, it was alright. It wasn't anything special, and it's very obvious that they're starting to that they want to hide some more stuff for Sec 6 without going into the regular reveals. Like they said, we're getting 3 new trial decks, not start decks, trial decks, which will have 60 cards, a 50 card deck, as well as 10 different cards, probably either reprints or cards that appear in like previous sets, to kind of like help like people like learn how to deck build and change their decks and get them more easier for people to get into the game. I'm interested in what that'll do. As for like Weiss and Rebirth, Weiss got Pixar All Stars pack, which, wow, they really spent all that money to get Toy Story and Cars. Also, there was also like announced by Freedom Duo. He also kind of said like they also are getting Incredibles and Monsters Inc. and what was the last two? The last two were Finding Nemo and Coco. So Finding Nemo and Coco are going to actually be in Weiss. Imagine that, huh? So like, yeah, you can now play Mater. You can play your Buzz Lightyear Mater deck can now beat Data Live. Let's go. And Rebirth had some more wrestling stuff, and Genshin is still nowhere to be found. I think the product stream is cool. I think if you were like a fan of Weiss stuff or Rebirth stuff, you were eaten. I think Vanguard stuff, like I think Vanguard honestly was kind of, I don't like saying this usually, but it's like it was kind of mid. It was very middle of the road. Nothing really too spicy outside of like the ride line reveal and whatnot. And there's some questions that still need to be answered. That's pretty much it. I'll probably do more follow-up stuff later. So that'll be it. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more TCG news and whatnot, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I actually like somehow left this out the final like video, but I'm gonna put it up here. We also got, because they made a decision during each product stream, they would give a list restricting cards from now on for all the games. We have the Vanguard like restriction list. For standard and premium, there's no changes. However, for V, they have banned Black Observe Hamio and have restricted Prudent Blue Meep and Bluish Flame Liberated Principle to one copy. Also, because of this, the restriction between Principle and Gurgwit has been lifted, meaning that you can now play Principle and Gurgwit again, but you only play one Principle. It's right now, at the time of this recording, we have no idea if the Japanese list will be the same when we get it in English, or the English restrictions will be different. Because, premium has a whole different beast. Japan doesn't really play it. English does. We have different not developers, but different producers. So it's gonna be, we'll wait and see what happens. Because this is apparently currently based on the Japanese data. But if the list itself should be the same for JP as in English, I will say this: these restrictions are fine a whole year and a half ago. I'll say this as actual hits: Hamio being banned is fine. I hate Hamio with a passion. Gavrail is a already pretty powerful deck, and Angel Feather has like a bunch of already like multiple like guard restrict cards. But they didn't just get a crit. They all didn't have the issue of like slamming into Gavrail and just getting a bunch of power. And didn't just yeet itself in the soul, as well as the new modern way of Angel Feather being able to actually like really hard get a lot of those pieces again. It doesn't really take a bunch of actual setup. You just, as early as turn 3, Hamio actually is more active. And, the actual, like, heal guards, which are made to kind of counteract this, don't really help all that much, because it's still punching you in the face for like 60, 70k power turn 1, and they can do it again. Restricting it to 1, while powerful, is basically the same as having Fronger for Grand Blue. And at that point, just get rid of it. I think Hamio is just too powerful. I don't it's fine in premium because you have G guards and you have other ways to just try and mitigate the pain. It's still not the same, but it's different than that. But it's still just like, yeah, no, it needs to go in V. I'm fine with it. Prudent Meat is a consistency hit for not Melody. Yeah, it's Melody for Melody because it's still a pretty big powerful deck. I'm not gonna lie. It's being overshadowed by Prism at the moment, and I'll talk about Prism in a little bit. But having Meat be hit is a hit to its consistency. That sucks. It's not a strong deck right now, but it could be if other changes happen. And again, we'll get to that. And then Percival being limited to 1, and then the Church Trick being lifted. Honestly, it makes no sense. I think the idea was, well, even if Gurgru didn't use it or abuse it, there's still what's his name? The potential for other decks in the future, such as what could come in 5 or 6, Clan Collection 5 and 6, or the restander. It's escaping me. I'm sorry. The restanding grade 3 for Gold Paladin, the Ride Line. It's escaping my head or not, but you know what I mean. Because you get to do that, or a potential card later down the line, it hitting to 1 would make sense, and thus you don't really need to get the choice straight. However, in an awkward twist of fate, you've now basically made the actual Bluish Flame deck in V actually useless, because now if you don't get Percival, the deck is dead in that case. So the one deck that actually needs Percival to play the deck is basically search out Percival or you just lose the game. It's very akin to kind of how Level Eater and a Jet Synchron, not Level Eater, but Jet Synchron, how Jet Synchron got hit. And that basically means that Jet Warrior is now literally unplayable because its main synchro tuner is gone. And I think that's just hilarious. And I'm sorry for Bluish Flame players. It's me. I'm Bluish Flame players. But I think the other major issue with this list, and primarily the primary issue, rather, is it because these are bad hits? No, far from it. These are actually, if we look at a vacuum, these are fine hits, like I said. The issue comes with the fact that these do not do anything to the top decks right now. V has been is now in the spot similar to how Premium was, in that it has been mostly solved, in which the main decks are either Prism or Luard. Luard is strong because you have the combo with the bat, you have the multi-attacks, you have the force markers, you have the major consistency. It's a very, very powerful deck. Similar to Prism, draw power, consistency, multi-attack, force markers, etc. And these decks have been around since their release. Luard was literally tier 0 on release before the change to a Nemain and Luard happened, which started us on this giant downward spiral, but let's talk about that later. So doing that, these decks kind of getting away with murder effectively, despite kind of being in the metagame for 2 years, is very, very is very bad for the state of V. I understand Clan Collection came out and there's another one coming out soon, and I get that, but at the same time, if we're gonna be honest here, 3 and 4 didn't really do anything to the metagame. In fact, anything, it helped buff Luard and Prism, because of just how the grade 1 in Revengers worked, and how the grade 1 and 2 they got for the Triangle works. Just the generic cards they added is very, very powerful. So putting that in, putting that aside, it very much is just, if we're looking at it from a, if we're looking at this as this list from a combined standpoint, this is not good. It really isn't. And I'm sad to say that, because otherwise, V should be the most balanced format. It's the one without Overtrigger, but yet somehow it's the one that is like, its top tier is still there, and you really just nerfed tier 2. You nerfed tier 2. And if this is really based on the WGP thing, it's like, what the hell was going on in the WGP where Percival was becoming rampant with Spectral Duke? Spectral Duke was the card I was talking about. That's what it was. Where Percival was going off with Spectral Duke, and Gavril was going sicko mode, and Harmony was, with Melody going crazy. What was going on in WGPs for that to happen? Like, I'm just gonna stop before I talk mess about Japan and its meta, because that's just something crazy. But yeah, just another added to the back half. Again, all the things I said for true or the same. Thank y'all for watching, and have a good night.